When the Nile begins to drop in water level, all of the surrounding area that it used to flood will start to dry out.
The ocean is rapidly heating up, hitting record-breaking levels.
Government and business leaders are saying one thing but doing another. Simply put, they are lying. And the results will be catastrophic.
Let's think unthinkable today. A hypothetical scenario where someone wants to make our beloved planet utterly inhospitable for us. I know it sounds like a sci-fi plot, but let's explore the dark side of the imagination. Don't worry, this is all purely theoretical, so stay with me. So picture this, a group with sinister motives wants to turn Earth into a no-go zone for humans. But how? I mean, we're not talking about blowing up the moon here. We're aiming for something that, unfortunately, seems more within the realm of possibility. First things first, let's talk about fossil fuels. Imagine stripping Earth of these treasures, denying future generations the energy we've been so reliant on. But we're not stopping there. We'll transform half of it into indestructible polymers, the kind that won't break down for ages. And where do we put them? Well, into our oceans, disrupting the food chain from its roots. Now here's the kicker, turning the other half of those fossil fuels into carbon dioxide. Burn it, release it, and voila, a greenhouse effect on steroids. Picture a climate catastrophe wreaking havoc on our delicate ecosystems. And we're not talking about a little warm weather, we're talking about a global meltdown. Next up, let's play with radioactivity. Extract the low radioactive uranium and cook it up in nuclear reactors, turning it into highly radioactive fission products. The resulting waste? A Pandora's box for future generations, not just hazardous but potentially weaponizable. Talk about leaving a lasting legacy, right? Now let's mess with our most precious resource, water. Dump any liquid, biological, or chemical waste into freshwater springs, making sure clean drinking water is a distant memory. Oh, and groundwater? Contaminate it by injecting hazardous chemicals deep into the earth. Now let's say someone wants to mess with natural gas deposits deep within the earth. They'd inject chemicals into the ground, breaking up those gas deposits and contaminating our precious groundwater. And here's the kicker. It could even shake things up a bit, causing a couple of earthquakes and bringing up loads of contaminated wastewater. It's like a recipe for an environmental disaster cake. Now let's talk about biodiversity. Picture this, intentionally driving various species of plants and animals to extinction. It sounds like something out of a doomsday movie, right? But that's not all. We're going full-on mad scientist here, over-cultivating a select few survivors and making them so reliant on humans that they'd be helpless in the wild. The result? A messed-up ecosystem on the brink of collapse, like a Jenga tower missing a few critical pieces. Now you might be scratching your head thinking, how in the world could someone get billions of people on board with such a nutty plan? Well, here's where it gets even more jaw-dropping. Imagine a global economic system that cheers on short-term gains while giving the cold shoulder to long-term sustainability. Those who champion this approach, they get more power and more influence, while the sensible folks who care about the big picture get pushed to the sidelines. It's like a game where the rules are rigged against the planet. And hold on, we're still going. Distract everyone from the impending chaos with a tidal wave of mindless entertainment. Mix in subliminal messages, pushing people to crave useless status symbols that, surprise, contribute to the destruction of our planet's delicate balance. It's like playing a game of distraction, where the real action is happening behind the scenes. For those who still care about the state of the world, throw them off the scent with emotionally charged but ultimately inconsequential issues. Think debates over things like gay marriage, abortion, or sexism in video games. Topics that grab attention but don't actually move the needle on the survival of the human species. Now picture this. You want to pull off a master plan, but you've got to keep the masses distracted. How? Throw them a bone once in a while. Make a public statement on hot-button issues like race or religion. Watch them go at it while you quietly continue your grand scheme. It's a bit like watching a chaotic chess game unfold, and you're the puppet master. But hey, that's not enough. To prevent humanity from uniting against you, go old school, divide and rule. Split people into easily distinguishable subcultures and make sure they despise each other. Stir the pot, fuel pointless wars, and voila, you've got a recipe for distraction and chaos. It might sound tricky, but trust me, it's astonishingly effective. Destabilize regions by supporting the right or wrong people, and suddenly you've got the perfect smokescreen for your master plan. And speaking of wars, once they kick off, people will be so engrossed in the conflict that they won't bother you. Wars also lead to ruthless exploitation of natural resources. Forget about sustainability, it's survival mode. Collateral damage to the ecology? Well, that's just a side effect, right? Now let's turn it up a notch. Unleash the entire world's nuclear arsenal. Aim for population centers and you've got a 2-for-1 deal. Vaporized humans and acute radiation poisoning. The bonus? Most of the useful technology, factories, and whatnot are toast, making it hard for humans to rebuild. Global radioactive rain? Not great for the survivors if there are any. And don't forget the nuclear winter, a devastating chill that wrecks the ecosystem as we know it. Without the usual abundance of plant and animal life, humans are in for a tough ride in the long recovery ahead. Now let's get one thing straight. Making something that's 100% fatal and can spread like wildfire is no walk in the park. Biological agents might come close, but even with a top-notch designer, there's always a chance some survivors will tough it out. Chemical poisons? Well, they face a volume and production challenge. Wiping out a city? That takes a colossal amount of resources. And then there's the nuclear option, literally. Unless you can convince all nuclear powers to launch their arsenals worldwide, bringing about a holocaust and nuclear winter, it's a bit of a stretch. Complicated, right? So what could be the simplest, if we can call it that, way to render Earth inhospitable? Picture this, deflecting a decent-sized asteroid right into Earth. Aim for the middle of the Pacific Ocean and you've got yourself a recipe for disaster. Why the ocean? Brace yourselves, we're talking colossal tsunamis, making everything we've seen look like a mere ripple. We're talking waves half a mile high, maybe more. The impact would vaporize water, heat up the atmosphere, and probably set off some serious volcanic activity, spewing even more chaos into the air. Now, if an asteroid isn't your style, how about a biological agent that plays the long game? Imagine something like the flu or the common cold, but with a dark twist. It generates a poison-like botulism. The agent itself doesn't kill, but the poison it turns out does. Picture it spreading far and wide, long before anyone realizes they're carrying a ticking time bomb within them. Okay, let's hit the pause button. This is all a wild thought experiment, a journey into the extreme to make us appreciate the fragility of our planet. We're not endorsing any doomsday scenarios, just having a little brain workout. And that's a wrap. So what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more.